Let's see if the audio works. Let's see if you can hear me. Welcome in all. Welcome to what is the end of quite a long hiatus, actually. Good evening to Citizen Ninja. Sebastian, good to see you, buddy. Viper Leo, Ray Louderback, Chief Paranoid Officer, Monster AV, and anyone and everyone else who is lurking in chat. Hope we're all doing well. Hope you've had a good couple of weeks, because it's been a while since we've been away, and it's been a while since we've been able to sit like this and chat. So, I'm hoping that we can do a big catch-up on Star Citizen. It's been a busy couple of weeks for me. It's been a fun couple of weeks. Hey, okay, good to see you, buddy. And we've got some news. So, stuff is happening. I've gone for a little bit of an inflammatory thumbnail and title, but someone made a very good point while I was having my hiatus, and I thought it was worth kind of talking about how that conversation came about. And just see what you guys think. And I'm going to put a poll up in just a little while and see what you guys reckon. We can use that to start a conversation. But first things first, welcome in all. Happy Sunday. Today's drink of choice for myself is a can of Hazy Jane from Brewdog. So this is an IPA that is slightly cloudy, I think. I don't know if it's got any flavours to it. I just know I enjoy it as a drink. So cheers all. Hope you're well. And good to see you all. Wooter, good to see you, buddy. Hey, and at the start of a stream, Wooter, you all right? Because normally you pop in at the end, dude. Normally, we don't see you for a while. But there we go. Right, okay, so before we go into the main theme of the stream and stuff like that, theme of the stream, I like it. Let's talk a little bit about a couple of things that have just happened with me. So we have gone from wait to all things go on the new place. Contracts have been exchanged. I'm moving into my new house. So it's going to be great. I'm going to be moving about 3.5 hours away from here. I'm going to be in the same city as my family, the city that I grew up in. I'm going to get to see family and friends from my kind of history, my past. I'm going to get to spend more time with them, reconnect with them, in a place that I actually own, as opposed to paying for somebody else's. That's obviously going to mean a bit of disruption here, but basically I'm going to be in the new place, I complete at the end of this week. So hopefully I'll pick up the keys and that will be that. I'm taking a carload of stuff down with me so I can start moving stuff. And what's really, really cool is that basically by the 16th of August I will be all moved in. What's really nice is that on the 15th of August I've got the man coming to sort out the broadband, and it's the same connection speed that I'm on now. So hopefully once I've done the moving there will be minimal disruption to this, and I should in theory be able to stream right up until I need to move. So that's kind of that. Yeah, it's really good news. I'm looking forward to moving, and basically the people in the org will already know. I've looked at setting up a Ko-Fi because people keep asking, and it's lovely that they want to support, and it's lovely that they want to kind of help out with the channel. So what I'm going to do is one of the first videos that goes on there, it'll go on there early and then probably come across to this one in a different form onto YouTube, is I'll do a walk around and I'll show people my plans for the hobby cave. And then the one that comes onto YouTube will be showing the actual setup, right, rather than just a house with nothing in it. So I'll do that. You guys can see that here on YouTube. And my plans for Ko-Fi are basically, I'm going to start here. I'm not paywalling any SC content ever. That's not something I'm going to do. Okay, so what I'm thinking, to thank the people who want to come to Ko-Fi and support however little or however much, I'm thinking that I'll show them other sides of me. So maybe I'll do a couple of things talking about something that's happening. Maybe I'll just play another game and talk through it while I'm playing it, that sort of stuff. It won't be a huge series and all that. So it won't be, you're not losing access to any SC content by me going to Ko-Fi. You know that's not how I operate. That's not how I work, right? It's not. I'm not going to share the link to it yet because it's not ready. I showed it to people in the org. I got some really useful feedback, and there's a couple of things I want to tweak. So that's going to happen first, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, hope you enjoy living in Badgerville. I might just change the name to that. That would be very, very cool. Get a nice sign made up for outside, maybe a badger in a spacesuit or something. But we'll see. So yeah, so that's really good news. Hopefully minimal disruption. The only thing that's really going to start to affect things now is that obviously it means that for work, I'm still working up here. The company are going to put me up here when I'm working. So they'll pay my travel to and from, they're going to pay my food and accommodation whilst I'm up here. So it really is a bit of a life upgrade for me. The downside, obviously, for you and I means that there are going to be 1 to 2 week blocks where I'm going to be up here without access to the PC and stuff. So the schedule might become a little bit more erratic than it already is. I will try to, once I'm settled in, once things are settling down, I will try and get back on with videos and stuff so I can do that with you. And maybe we'll even do, I don't know, a phone stream or two, and I'll just stream from wherever I am, as long as, you know, the internet holds up. I don't want to muck around with that if it's not going to work. But we can certainly do some stuff. It means I won't be playing and stuff. So there's all that that's happening. It's going to be a very busy, basically, month from here on out while I get set up. And then from the 16th onwards, I will be up here for 2 weeks from the 17th, basically, delivering training like I do normally as my day job, except I'm not coming home every evening. So yeah, that's the news for me. I'm really excited to be moving. Finally, it's been a long old road. I put the offer in for the new place in January. That's how long it's taken. There's no chain. I'm buying it off of builders because it was part exchanged. So there's no chain. There's been no haggling. There's been no issues other than the Germans tried to bomb it. Genuinely. They dug up a bomb near where I'm moving to, and they had to evacuate a bunch of houses. Luckily not mine. But yeah, so it's been a little hectic getting to where we are, but that's where we are. And yeah, I'm really excited to have that, and I will have a dedicated room. At the moment you can't see it, but behind me I'm in my front room, so I've got my L-shaped sofa over there. I've got a unit of shelves with all some nice keepsakes and knickknacks behind me. We're on the dining room table at the moment because it's far too hot to be upstairs, and all that sort of stuff. So this is the space that I'm in at the moment, and it's a bit of a conversion from a social space to a space where I can game and do all the streaming and with all the lights and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having a dedicated space, and that's really, really cool. I must say to seeing the theme of this stream, I'm currently really happy that my Ironclad seems somewhat playable now. Still sad about the broken hull seat and broken freight elevators. Yeah, we'll come to that in just a second. I promise I am going to get there. Just bear with me. Hey Jabba, and hey Mark, excellent, good to see you, buddy. Geez, do closing sales usually like that take that long over there? My parents just sold and bought. It took a couple months at most. Yeah, so at the moment it does, and I'm not sure as for why. My mortgage advisor turned around and said, don't know what it is, but in the southwest where I'm buying, it's just bad. Like, things are taking forever, because obviously he gets his commission when the sale goes through. So it's taken forever for him to get his money. But he's saying that it's not just me, it's not just, that part of the West Country, it's the entire West Country. Stuff is just taking ages. It took forever to get the reports back and stuff on the house, like all the due diligence stuff and, all that sort of, the surveys and everything else. I think the services down there aren't enough people fulfilling that role, so all the companies are really backed up. So they tell you they're going to get it done in their normal timescales, but it takes them 2-3 times as long. And there's no other companies to go to because they're all in the same boat, so to speak. Yeah, that. So, takes a deep breath. On top of that, I'm just going to say this to you guys now, because I can't keep this news in anymore. There is a Mrs. Badgers, which is really exciting. It's brand new. It's just happened. We are getting on like a house on fire. It's really cool. By the way, I'm drinking a nice cold bottle of Corona. Nice, good for you, my friend. It's a game of roundabouts, buy, sell, move, and a chain of owners. Yeah, absolutely. And then that was the weird thing, is that I thought it was going to be fine because I'm a first-time buyer, and I'm buying from a building company because the previous owners part exchanged it for a new build. So it's a 6-year-old house, so I'm still under new build warranty and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Does the Mrs. Burgess know, says Viper Leo? Yes, that. Yeah, and you must have told him, no worries, I'm used to waiting. Yes, Star Citizen trained me to wait for my house. However, still massively frustrated. So, no, so that's where all the money you'll save on rent will go. Do you know what? Funnily enough, you say that. Thanks, Jabba. Thanks, Calco. Do you know what? It's just nice. I've been on my own a while. And it's been one of the beautiful things about having you guys here on stream and in chat, in Discord, and all that sort of stuff is when you build a community like that, you don't feel the loneliness quite as much. You don't feel like being on your own because you can always pop in chat and it seems there's always people in Discord ready to go. And that's lovely. So that's been one of the things at DGP. And that's why I'm never going to stop, certainly the community side of DGP, because that's doing the same for some other people. And that's a good thing, right? So yeah, there we go. Okay, anyway, that's all that done. That's the personal update for me done. You know, we'll figure it all out. Before anyone asks, yes, the new Mrs. Badgers is a gamer. Jabba, absolutely she is. And I'm not just talking about The Sims and Farmville. She's a proper gamer. And while she openly admits at this point that Star Citizen, with all the bugs and all the issues, is something that she just wouldn't enjoy, she hasn't ruled it out for the future. So we might find that out soon. Wooty says, I'm an owner myself. It's so much better paying a monthly amount. You can just imagine being a special sort of saving account for yourself once you move and sell the house. Absolutely that. But does she play Star Citizen? Well, not yet, but she's open to it once the game gets more stable. She just said she just wouldn't enjoy something that's very buggy and broken. And I think we can all understand that, right? There's a lot of people like that. So just looking at my hair. My hair's doing strange things. Apologies. I've been out. I'm a little bit windswept today. So there we go. But yes, it's very, very cool. She doesn't live down here at the moment. It's a bit of a slightly long distance thing. She's up north. But she is in the same country, which is an upgrade on serious stuff. So yeah. So there we go. But yeah, she's going to wait till it's better. Paranoid, exactly that. And then maybe we'll make that a thing. Maybe we'll make that a stream. Because one of the things I've always enjoyed about this game, as you guys know, is I love showing this to new players. And I love re-experiencing that wonder at a game of this scale through the eyes of someone else. And just hearing them experiencing it is kind of awesome, right? So that's where we go. So I'm going to put a poll in. We're going to shift topic now. So mortgage is paying into your own pocket and not into a landlord's. Good for you. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, it's a significant saving. Add to that the fact that I won't be in the house quite as regularly because of the training, because, you know, my food and drink for a while whilst I'm up here will be paid for, so I'll be able to claim it all back. It's going to be a significant upgrade in money as well. From the drop from rent to mortgage, which is really weird, but that's what it is. It's a drop. It's a significant drop. Yeah, it's going to be good. Looks better than my short hair at the moment, says Calco. I can wet it down an hour later. It'll be up all angles again. Nice. Spiky. Retro, mate. Retro. So I'm going to put this in and see what people think. Here we go. Poll goes in. And the poll is, should CIG stop selling new ships whilst they fix the old ones, right? If they've got ships that are in the situation like the Ironclad is, which is broken, right? The Iron Shad and the Iron Shad Assault, not in a good state right now. Should that stop them? What would CIG's development look like if they were to turn around and say, you are not selling any more ships until you've got freight elevators fixed, until the missions are fixed, until all the ships are up to scratch? What do you think? Hey, Widget, good to see you, my friend. Because that'll be really, really interesting. And basically this came about, I saw a really interesting comment, and it just, normally I skip over these things because they just seem a little bit like, right, I've lost some altitude here. Let's put me back in the centre of the front. There we go. Lovely. Pretty. Gorgeous. They go broke, says Essential Answer. You're not wrong. White noise on his audio. Okay, bear with me 2 seconds, mate. There probably is a little bit because I've got a fan on. Let's see if I can... I'll turn it down for a little bit and hopefully it won't get too warm in here. But that should have... Has that killed it? I've just turned it off. So hopefully that's all right. They should and they probably could, but they won't due to cash flow, says Space Saga. AV says, I'll be honest, I think while I think that they should, I don't think they can afford to. There's too many ships that need too much work. Calco says, I would say they should... Nah, I'll put my false teeth back in. Calco says, I would say they must finish the next ship they're planning to sell and then dive into tech debt. Otherwise, it will never clear out. Okay, it's gone now, is it, Chief? Good. Fantastic. Yeah, that was the fan. Sorry about that. I'll turn it on a little bit just to keep a little bit of air moving, but I'll put it on its lowest. So hopefully, and I'll turn that bit down again and I'll just speak louder. So there we go. They have to get all the ships to the same standard. I feel annoyed that having paid for a Carrack, it's treated as second-class ship because they already have my money. Then we also have ships like the Hull C, which gameplay is broken, no auto-loading zones anymore. And then we also have size 3 components that you can't remove from ships. Yes, the size 3 thing is intentional, according to them. That stuff, you must store the ship and then change it in the loadout manager, just because they're saying that the components are too big for us to move around. That's it. Realistically, they should likely have a separate ship team dedicated to compliance, bringing ships into working current functions. That's a really good point. Jay Greer says, hey, Badgers, maybe just need to slow down the new ships a little and have a dedicated ship fixer crew. That, I think, is going to be a common theme. It's a really good idea, and it would be really good to see them do that. So I'm just realising, I don't think you guys can see it because it's like auto-balancing, but the camera's at a bit of an angle. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to try and fix it now because it'll break, and then I'll be buggered. They need a team that's focused on keeping ships up to date. Exactly that. And I think that's... It was just really interesting to see this comment that I don't normally engage with. Normally it just comes across as hate. But I was thinking about it, thinking, this guy's got a point. And it was just like, the service is still broken, the Ironclad is still rubbish, missions still don't complete, but hey, here, have the basher. And I got nothing. I've got no comeback. Right? Because, you know, we see them rushing things out, like DefenseCon, which is why 4.8 was such a mess, right? No Evocati testing, anything like that, just rushed out for DefenseCon, because they had ships to sell. That's what DefenseCon is. Let's not forget, right? If it was just an in-game event and they delayed it, no dice. So yeah, so that, right? I'm just going to flashbang myself a second because this will be fun. Stand by for flashbang. There we go. Lovely. I was just going to put that up there. There we go. So yeah. Hey, Commander Hawk, welcome in, buddy. Stunner says, again, you either believe they're doing ships for the right reason or not. So if they're not, there must be reasons beside the fact they'll almost all have to be looked at before 1.0. Yeah, I think it can be a little bit more nuanced than that, right? I think you can have a look at things and go, some things are happening well and some things aren't, etc., etc., right? I think that's a perfectly reasonable kind of viewpoint to hold. I just think, you know, they're rushing things in, and it's that maybe it is for the right reasons, right? It's to keep the project afloat, to keep the money flowing, all that sort of stuff, to keep things developing. Fine, happy with that. I'm just thinking that what they've done is that they've accepted that they're going to rush the new stuff out and the old stuff will have to wait. And I think, would the Ironclad have been handled the way it was handled if it had been a brand new straight to flyable ship as opposed to a concept sale? And I don't think it would have. I think they would have done more to fix it, because people would have been looking at it going, this is crap. And I think there's definitely some mileage to that viewpoint. Maybe a new ship every quarter to slow things down, says Commander Hawk. Yeah, I mean, they're going to release things at their rate that they do and that sort of stuff. It's more of a thought experiment, I think, where I was coming from it, although we can talk about the practicalities as well. I just wonder what it would look like in terms of freight elevators, in terms of the mission system, in terms of the Ironclad and all the other ships that still don't work or work sporadically. I mean, that they've only just put out, I think, that's coming up in the new patch. Spoilers, by the way, if you don't want to hear this. The prospect ahead was supposed to be gimbaled. It is now gimbaled in the new patch. So in 4.10, it's going to be gimbaled. So the mining beam will go other places. You'll have to move the ship to an extent, which is really interesting. But they've said it was always supposed to be gimbaled. They said it in the patch notes. But it's now it's finally getting it. It's like, well, the prospect has been out how long now, and it was supposed to be gimbaled? Like, why wasn't it just fixed? So, or added, not fixed. But yeah. The problem is we had a year of bug fixes last year, then they released the new Aurora Mark II and other Mark II ships that supposedly replace older versions of those ships. Why not just replace the old ones, as we say? I see where you're coming from. I think there are going to be people out there who like the older versions, either because they just prefer them, unlikely in the case of the Aurora, I grant you, or, more to the point, they want to keep hold of the old ones as posterity. As like a, I was there. I was there when there was the Aurora Mark 1. I've got one. You can't buy them, you can't buy them anymore. I own them. No. Look how old I am, basically, by the time this thing releases. But I get you. And I think people should be offered a straight-up upgrade. What was really interesting to see was that the new Aurora came out at the same price as the old Aurora, which was cool. I don't know if that, I can't remember if that included War Bond or not. I'm sure someone will correct me in chat if it did. But yeah, there you go. Viperleo says, so what happens if they stop with the new ships and that doesn't help with actually fixing anything? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to see how, if the ship team dedicate themselves to old ships and bringing them up to spec, or at least just not have the Ironclad kill people as much as it does, making sure that everything that should have been added retrospectively is added, like the MSR getting its ladder, right? Like, I don't know if they have them now, but the Hornets were supposed to have 2 SCU storage inside, which you could add in very much the same way as the Aurora has on the side. You can add just a little compartment that you can pop an SCU box into. Right? But it doesn't have it, and it hasn't had it for ages. That would make the Hornet a far more effective mission ship, because now you can put in stuff and actually store stuff in, and you can go looting and not have to go back to station every time you do it. It's designed for that anyway. It says 2 SCU on the damn thing, so maybe they should add that. So there we go. They could have delayed defence, kind of did in the in-universe law thing about something being delayed or inspection of the venue turning up safety problems that needed to be fixed. Yeah, or the shock that UEE was cancelled, and then all of a sudden, whatever it is, Fleet Week is going to be not coming to the outer systems. So there will be no ILW this year in Stanton, Pyro, or Nyx. Dun, and then all of a sudden we get the announcement 2 weeks later that Drake Defence kind of stepping in, right? That would have been cool. That would have been a nicer in-universe way. So you're right. I kind of that. Wooter says, I just don't understand them not putting the ships through PTU. It's a time thing because they want to sell stuff. But I agree with you. It doesn't make a lot of sense from a company perspective, from a product perspective. If a new ship adds a new functional game loop, maybe, but how about implementing the loops for existing ships, scanning, data running, etc.? Yeah, so the loops are much bigger to add, and I agree they need to come. The scanning thing, I'll be honest, scanning has never felt right. And that, for me, is because they haven't actually copied real world, the way things work in the real world. The idea that you can identify stuff at a long range and just know what it is straight off. The idea that you passively pick up things, that's not generally how things work. It is to an extent, but not the way that Star Citizen is portraying it, right? So they could copy the way real world stuff works, because it's actually pretty easy to understand. And the way you understand it is you're in a darkened room and you're shouting, right, to find people. And if you're shouting and someone shouts back, then that's radar, right? That's radar pinging off them. And sometimes you can shout and you can hear people shouting, but you shout back and they can't hear you, right? That is radar working outside of its maximum detection range. You can still pick it up. You can pick it up as coming to you. They just don't hear the reflection back. And that's effectively the way radar works. But the point is, if you've got your radar on, anyone with military kit can pick up that you're there, right? Without getting too sneaky about it. They are replacing old chips, but they also have flight time data. Yes. Wouter would personally about the new ships. Oh, sorry. Avi's responded to Wouter. Got you. People own the Aurora Mark 1, but barely anyone was flying it. Agreed. It's kind of like, since the Ironclad release, I see fewer Caterpillars, so maybe the Cat gets a gold pass and sunset soon. Possibly. I think, that, again, like the ability to add the cargo bay stuff to it, that ability to do the same with the Carrack that was supposed to be able to happen and actually add the modules to it. The Caterpillar was supposed to be modular. The Avenger Titan or the Avenger was supposed to become modular, that you just change that bit out in the back, whether it's the Warlock or the Bounty Hunter one. I forget the names now. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they could do. I just think it's a really interesting thought experiment as to how quickly or not ships would change if they were to say you're not releasing any new stuff until you've fixed the old stuff. So there we go. Imagine how many more Carracks they would sell if they were fixed, drones, interchangeable modules, and scanning for a lot of stuff. And things like the drones, we know that that's not anytime soon, at least until your base building comes. And my bet would be that base building isn't going to be a full drones release. So we're not going to necessarily see the drones for the Reclaimer at the same time. We're not going to see the Vulcan at the same time that uses drones for its repair, rearm, refuel stuff. I don't know if that's going to be the same thing. I think the base building drones might be the first implementation. They'll see how that works and build off the back of it. I'm happy to be wrong, but I think that's the way that's going to work. Betting the Cat will be a bit later because it gets modularity and they turn the variant into a paint. Yeah. Imagine, so that's like, yeah. I must say I haven't played SC a lot since the mess in 4.8, but I feel so sad to see the game last year working great with new content, and 2 months later the content's not working anymore. That. And I'm guessing that Mission System version 2, or Tier 2, or whatever the hell it's called this week, Star Mission, Star Quest, whatever it's going to end up being called, it'll be really good to see that come in, because hopefully that will make the missions more reliable. Obviously there'll be a delay where they change everything over to the new stuff. But yes, agreed. Because one of the things I was thinking about as well, on top of all of this, is missions in Pyro. Pyro just feels like it's stopped. And I don't know why. Everything is being added to Nyx. Right? The Vandal Tech Smuggler missions. Rockbreaker. Tactical Strike Groups. The Recco Battaglia stuff is being added to Nyx. Okay, we're going to go back to Stanton for the Siege of Orison stuff, and I cannot wait for the Siege of Orison stuff. It's going to be so good. But then we're back to Nyx for the progressive instancing, the stuff at Levski. And Pyro just seems like it's kind of been dropped. They're kind of leaving it as it is. Don't know. Miners might say different, because obviously you've got all the mining stuff over there, and then pirates might say different because they've got the miners to pick on. But yeah, we'll see. Getting on a plane, having an amazing stream, great day. Commander Hawk, safe flight, my friend. Good to see you, buddy. And yeah, thank you very much. See you soon, bud. The Aurora Mark 1 was supposed to be modular. What module do they actually confirm for the cat? So they haven't confirmed it, but they did mention in a recent stream that the intention was for it to stay modular. I think the modules on the cat, they can wait till later, and I think it would be really cool for them to add more pirate-themed stuff to it. So when we finally get to the stage of like being able to own ships and stuff like that, have some sort of, I don't know, what do you call it? Some sort of like chop shop on board the Caterpillar where you can bring snubcraft and you know, basically like remove the serial numbers, that sort of stuff. Some sort of drugs lab on board would be really cool. Something with like a bounty element to it, like the ability to move prisoners around, or, you know, prisoners, not necessarily the legal ones, you know, guests of the prison system. Like, there's so much stuff you can do with modules for a not pirate themed ship, but, you know, a ship that comes from Drake. So they could do a lot of things which would be really fun. I've been thinking they had issues with drone tech. I expect it causing issues they cannot solve or not easy to solve. Yeah, I think... I mean, they removed the drone. The big thing from this, I'm guessing where this is coming from, Chief, is they removed the drones from the medevac and the triage. They just went, no drones. There's still space in there, and they mentioned that there was still space to do that. I don't think I've ever seen drone gameplay on the roadmap. And I think they've basically just looked at it, and internally they've made some decision about how drones are going to work or not work, or they've done some scoping tech, and it's basically determined something or other. They've gone, yeah, we don't want to do this with players anymore. Which is, I'm not going to lie, the reason I've got a CCU chain to the medevac. I don't want it. I don't want it. I got a Hermes, so I can fly around in that style of ship. But I don't want the medevac, I don't want the triage. It was always about the combat search and rescue capability of it, and they've basically removed that. I love the idea that you could go through, and when you've got ejected pilots and stuff, the drones would go off and recover them. That was the whole point of the medevac, and that's gone now. And that's a real shame, right? But there we go. Pyro's needed the solar flares back. Yeah, I think they're going to need to do a little bit more on the repair stuff before they play that. Maybe we can get a Leviathan and Valakar in Pyro. You mean the Apex ones, the really big mission? Maybe that is where it's coming in. Don't know. I mean, it definitely won't be Nyx for the time being, right? Because Nyx has no planets. Lol. Biological cargo cat. Yeah, I mean, you could go really creepy with it, right? You could do like the cyberpunk Ripper Doc-esque stuff. That would be really cool and very, very creepy. Yeah. Hey, Luna, good to see you, my friend. How are you? You alright? Yeah, so that's what we go. Removing serial numbers, that sounds illegal. Absolutely. From Drake, who would expect anything less? It was on the roadmap when the Apollo were put back into it last time. Also, they showed off after base building. Yeah, so I saw it with the base building, and that was really interesting, because that, to me, that watching stuff in real time, I'll see if I can find it. For those that haven't seen it for a while and are wondering what the hell I'm talking about, I'll see if I can find it for you. I'll put it on the background with no sound. I've just flashbanged myself again. That was fun. But yeah, it's really interesting, because to me, what it screams is well, what's the word I would use? It screams combat drones. It screams like some sort of command drone or targeting drone, which would be really cool. So it was almost 2 years ago, right? The video. So that was the QA, crafting and base building. QA, crafting your home. Here we go. Okay, there's going to be a burst of sound. Bear with me.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, let's see if I can... So that's crafting. Crafting process. Base building. Here we go. Okay. So, bump, and let's transition across. So yeah, so in a bit, I think it ends up showing you, here we go. So this is like the base building bit, and then the drones deploy from this, right? And then what you end up with is this menu. And what's kind of interesting here is if you look down here, you can actually see players are moving around, so this is real time. So you've got people moving around down here. You can see everything's rendered in real time. So this is like some sort of targeting or real-time command drone would be really cool. Because if you're in a party, there's no reason you couldn't use this to play the game like an RTS. So you could select players on here, give them a location, and something pops up in their head, and you just get the move here command, or enemy are here, attack this location, that sort of stuff. So you can have ground commanders commanding their troops within a radius of their drone. And of course, the drone could be something you can target, take out maybe, So it would be good fun to have this sort of stuff in. So I think there's a lot of utilities for drones in this game. At the moment, it looks like I'm guessing that the first iteration of drone gameplay in this game is just going to be the base building side of it. And it's going to be this stuff. They have confirmed a couple of things. So the idea that if your drones, so let's say you have a Starlancer build, right, and it lands and the drones fly off and start building. If you leave the Starlancer build on location, then what will happen is you will, it will go back, once the drones are done, they'll go back to the build. If you fly off in the build, the drones will effectively be expended and you'll need to go and rearm them, basically. Just go somewhere and put them back in at cost. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. But what they've got there is a very, very early prototype. What you saw him interact with was a very, very early prototype of the build buggy or the build trolley or whatever they're going to call it, right? So yeah, it's kind of cool. It's not a bad looking thing at all. CIG should fix my Connie before making new ships, says Luna. Agreed. The poor old Connie. It needs a lot of work doing. It's got to the point, Luna, I'm not going to lie, where I'm thinking of swapping the Connie out. I'm going to trade up from it and get it to something else. Because I've got a Hermes, and why would I want a Connie when I've got a Hermes? So, yeah. Which is a shame, because the Connie was the ship that really got me into the game. I saw that, and I was like, I must have it. And it was a bit of a scary purchase at the time. How much of a fool I was back then. I was like, 100 and whatever it was back then, 140, 150 quid for a ship, for something in a game, was a bit scary. But I had the money. I went and bought it because I'd played in one and absolutely loved it. It just, for me, in the early stages, back when it was Olisar, and there was no bed logging or anything like that, and you had very little to do in the game, the Connie just, to me, went, this is Star Citizen in a nutshell. And now not so much. Ocean 911 says, rip Connie. Yeah, sorry, bud. It's a shame. I'm still hoping when they redo it, I might just keep it in the fleet. It might just be something that sits in the hangar, is never used, because I'm really hoping that when it comes to doing it again, they redo it, that it's going to be so good that I'm going to want it again. That'll be really cool. Freelancer needs work, the ship that got me into the game at first. Yeah, absolutely. Something to do with the way it lands, right? Because that's not VTOL. That's not how that works. So there we go. I remember how cool it was unducking my snob from my Connie, says Jabba, for the first time when it was finally added. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the game that needs love. And I think going back to the original theme, that's the point that I'm trying to make. Is that CIG seems so very focused on making sure that you know, they get those ship sales and stuff like that, and that seems to drive a lot. Well, it does drive a lot of their deadline, right? When the patch goes, there's a new ship with it now. That's the new thing. You know, DefenseCon, ILW, whatever you want to call it, and IAE are at set times, and the patch will go regardless. The only thing that seems to get kicked by the wayside, as we've seen a couple times, is no free fly or a delayed free fly. So yeah, I'm just glad they added restock and refuel. That's what's made using the carrot super viable again. Well, I'm pleased for you, mate. Yeah. My Connie was my first OG big purchase too. I'm keeping it forever. Nice. Yeah, and like I'm really hoping that when it gets redone, that it's going to be something that I go, yeah, I can't deal without this. I'm just not sure it's going to get there before 1.0. And if it's there after 1.0, hey, I'll earn it and go. Wooter says, Cuddy Black was the ship that got me into the game. Now I have so many ships, I feel like I overspent on the game way too much. And to be honest, I only did 100 and 150 euros into the game each year. But I did make 2 exceptions with the Hull C and the Ironclad. So I feel for you, bud, because both the Hull C and the Ironclad obviously have significant problems. So, yeah. Nice ships. Really nice ships. I love the idea of the Hull C. I love the idea of the Ironclad. I think they're great. It's just a shame that at the moment they're broken. And it would be really nice to say, hey, you've got all these people that spent this money on the Hull C. You need to put it in game properly, because they've done big purchases and they can't use this thing. And I think that would be probably a better approach from them. I like what a couple of you guys have said, which is spin off part of the shipbuilding team or recruit more people, take a couple of the experienced ship team across to lead them, get everything up to scratch. So you still have the work going on the new ships, the money must flow. In this economy, they're obviously not going to stop selling ships. But it would be really nice to see them, you know, just get to the point where they can start bringing some of the old ships up to scratch. I feel really bad for the Ironclad owners who just saw that ship come in, were rightfully hyped about it. It's an incredible looking ship. I love the walkways. I love the little ladders and the gantries and all that. It's just chef's kiss, right? There's something very maritime about it. And even as someone who's ex-military maritime, there's something about that that speaks to me about that sort of thing more than any other ship has done, ever. The Ironclad, there are some bits about it that I really, really like. So please, CIG, just fix it. Please. Please. But I guess, you know, we'll find out at some point in the near future. Right, hopefully there's no background noise, but I am, just for you guys, going to pop a little bit of background noise in. There we go. I'm just worried, but it is a bit warm in here. I don't know if you can see. I'm kind of going red, but it is toasty in here. Hopefully, let me know if it's too loud, but it'll just cut down on the background noise. There we go. All this stuff is really, really cool. I really like the look of this HUD and stuff. That's awesome. Sean G, welcome in, buddy. There's almost 300 ships. I'm sure they could take a break and do something better with their time. Yeah, I mean, the ship team obviously is the ship team, and there's that, and the money must flow because, you know, there being 300 ships in the game doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to make, or, you know, they're not going to need it, but I get what you mean entirely, and they could slow it down, and it would be really interesting just to see what would happen in the company, how they would reprioritize if people were to say, we don't get massive, we don't sell new ships until a lot of the bugs and stuff are rectified. It's a short-lived endeavour, right? It is one of those things, and it's a bit of a jump up and down and stamp your feet thing, because even if they fix it, and it's all fixed by the end of the year, the freight elevator stuff, the mission system, the ships, even if that was done by the end of the year, the minute they put the new stuff in, it's going to start breaking things again, right? When they add freight elevators for this, when they go to dynamic server meshing, and that has to, you know, be broken and, you know, remade to work with that sort of stuff. You know, it's one of those things we'd love to see it fixed. Sorry, I'm just going to turn that down a little bit in my headset and then turn it up in yours. There we go. But yeah, You fix the game, more people will buy in. The money doesn't stop in that case, and I think that's the bit that I have issue there is that any fix at the moment is temporary. When they bring in armor and Maelstrom, it's going to break stuff. When they bring in more advanced engineering and repair stuff, it's going to break stuff. So whatever's fixed at the minute isn't necessarily going to stay fixed. And we've seen that. We saw that from last year into this, right? We had missions that were working. Hathor didn't work, and then it did, and now it doesn't again. The Vandal tech smuggler missions were working reliably for a good few months. They're now broken again. Stormbreaker, that's been broken for a good long while. So we've got this sort of stuff. ASD seems to be working reliably, but I've said it now, so I'm going to touch wood, because if I say it too loud, they'll hear me, and that'll break. So, like, I get completely where you're coming from, but the money's still going out the door. Naturally going out the door. And just because 300 ships exist doesn't mean that they have enough money to last more than X number of months, whatever it is, wherever they are with their finances right now. So there's that. For an online game, the org stuff, contracts, ownerships and loans, etc. has to be finally sorted. The whole social aspect is sadly missing from the game. It is. I don't know if you guys seen, there's a questionnaire they've put out about how you communicate with people. Look, it's one of the times they're asking actively for our feedback. If it's something you care about at all, I would really recommend going in, giving them your opinion. Doesn't mean they're going to act on it. Of course it doesn't. But they definitely won't act on it if you don't tell them. So tell them. Right? And see what happens. CIG won't stop selling new ships at any point, including after 1.0, unless we're legally required to stop. So Citizen Ninja, welcome in, by the way, buddy. Good to see you. Which isn't going to happen. So I'm talking about it more from a thought experiment point of view, right? Is what would the bug fixing, the rate of bug fixing, how would it help people if, for example, they weren't allowed to release the Basher until the Ironclad was fixed. That. Right, because it was obviously rushed in for DefenseCon. The whole DefenseCon patch 4.8 was screwed. We know that because there was no Evocati, because they didn't have the time to do it. They didn't release it to Evocati because by the time they got to the stage to be able to test it, they were bang on top. We also know that because there was the free fly was delayed because it was so damn broken. Right, it's 2 points make a line, right, and there wasn't 2 points on this graph. There were 12. So. There's that link. If someone's got the link, can you fire it to me in Discord just while I'm talking? Because I'm a little bit unsure about kind of loading stuff up and that whilst we're doing this. So, if someone's got the link to that questionnaire, can you fire me Discord and I'll pop it in chat. I don't think you'll be able to post it because I haven't got links enabled. But there we go. Please don't show crafting. It's so broken. I made some nice quantum drives that since 4.9 are broken in my inventory. Yeah, sorry to hear that, mate. That's rough. But it's another example of stuff in the game that will break, even after it's been working. You're not getting out until the Ironclad is fixed. I was Basher, not Badger. Sorry. Truther, hello, buddy. Good to see you. Welcome in. Wooter says, what makes me even more pissed off is that now it's almost August. We still haven't heard anything about Squadron 42, except it supposedly comes out this year, but we all know it probably won't. Yeah, do you know what? Do you know who I blame? Do you know who I blame for this? Me. Right? Because in New Year's, when people asked me for my predictions this year, I went out on a limb and said that I thought it was coming out this year. My fault. Sorry. Yeah, I done fucked up, boys. I done fucked up. So yeah, sorry about that. I was really hoping. I was really, really hoping. And like I've said all along, This is going to be, if he is to be believed, Chris Roberts' magnum opus, which is his masterpiece, right? It's going to be his magnum opus, this. Squadron 42 is going to be part of that. It is not hard at all to understand that he might want to release it to try and get Game of the Year. Unfortunately, as of like the beginning of last year, they changed the dates for Grand Theft Auto, and then it changed a bunch of times, and now you're competing with Grand Theft Auto 6, whose predecessor, 5, was the fastest selling piece of entertainment media in existence, including movies and albums. There is not a single piece of entertainment media that sold faster than Grand Theft Auto 5. So even if Grand Theft Auto 6 is a colossal flop, by pre-sales and day one sales alone, it is going to take up an awful lot of people's time. And he doesn't want to compete with that, potentially. And you can't blame him. I know it's on a different platform. I know it's not coming to PC. That doesn't mean that there aren't people out there. They've all talked about people are taking time off right now for, from work to play it. Companies are shutting down for the day to allow people to play Grand Theft Auto 5. So there's that. Hey Cody, good to see you. So yeah, that's where it is. And to back up the people that are saying not coming this year, that's Ocean, that's Cody Fox, and all that sort of stuff. Paul, the Astro historian, the Astropub, has said that he's been talking behind the scenes with certain people in CIG, and they have said to him that exactly what you guys are saying, which is it's not coming this year. It's going to come 2027. So yeah. I think it's more and more likely. I've said to people for a while that Chris made a comment a while ago that Star Citizen's having a very different experience, where Star Citizen, we've known about it for years and years and years, and then he makes the comment that, hey, look, 20 odd years ago, or, not even 20 odd years ago, normal game development, it is the case that you get 6 months notice that a game is coming out. From, I've never heard it before, to release was 6 months. Which in my head went, maybe he's gonna give us 6 months notice. And if that's the case, I mean, he's only got 4 months now, really, until the end of the year. So it's looking unlikely. We know now that there's the playtest in October at CIG's headquarters. CIG, if you're looking for people to come and test, give us a shout. I'd love to. And I'm only a small creator, but I'd love to. I've got a great community here. These guys are awesome. Would love to come along, even though I'm moving house. So there we go. Meaningful marketing campaign. It's nearly August. Yeah, exactly that, Cody. I wish that they were putting it out this year. I would love it, but I've decided to accept reality. The fact that we don't have a trailer, don't have pre-sales, don't have any meaningful marketing campaign. Yeah, exactly that. So there we go. I mean, one thing about GTA 5 is that on console it won't impact PC players. Yes, but also no. I know people who are buying consoles just to play it. I know people who are who own both, who are setting aside, basically their entire gaming life after that comes out to play Grand Theft Auto 6. So, yeah. I can't remember. I mean, the fact that it already exists and people have already seen it, right? And if you look at all the different ways the trailer's been cut up, the gameplay demo we saw in 2024, like millions of people have seen the Squadron 42 gameplay demo, the whole playthrough with the fleet battle and all that sort of stuff, right? Literally millions of people have seen it. But yes, I would agree that, I'm just hoping, again, I know I'm going off topic slightly, I'm just hoping that there's some sort of physical collector's edition, because I'm an absolute slut for that sort of stuff. I am more than happy to to go and grab some physical merch. So I've been packing here over the weekend when I've been able to, and what was really good fun with that was I've packed all my Star Citizen stuff away, and I've got pin badges, and I've got the collector's coins, and I've got the physical goodies stuff from Citizen Con, so I've got all the challenge coins, and this, that, and the other thing, and it's great. It's great to have all that stuff. I love having tactile things from hobbies, and this is why I'm quite looking forward to getting hold of the Scorpius model being done by Pigeon Spaceport. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's in the description down below. But anything that's physical, because I'm a model builder, I do like Warhammer and stuff like that, and bolt action. Like having that stuff in the room is really, really cool. And that goes all the way back to like StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty. I got the collector's edition for that. I got them for a bunch of Warcraft stuff, for Total War Warhammer. Gutted they didn't the third one, because for the first time I got the first and the second. And I was really hoping to complete the series, but didn't have that either. So there we go. 4K Star Engine amazed so many people, and Squadron 42 demo was well received too. Exactly. Yeah. Wonder if they'll get Pigeon on this physical collector's edition. If they do one, possibly. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I'd like something like that. But yeah, I'm guessing Invictus 2027 they'll launch it with the Kraken, and that'll be a huge event, potentially. Yep, come out for the Easter holidays, says Jabba. Yeah, I don't know. I'm done guessing. Right? And that's not to say you guys can't guess, but I'm done guessing. Because if it doesn't come out this year, we've said time and time and time again, we're here trying to support it. And I'm still optimistic for it. I'm still really looking forward to playing it. I can't wait. But it just I felt like at the end of last year I felt confident enough to turn around and say, yeah, it's coming. I trust them, and once again the reward for that has been there's no word, there's no nothing. And the fact that it's middle of October, towards the end of October, that this playtest is happening, which leaves you a month and a bit before Christmas. Good luck. If it doesn't come out of the year, you're betting intervals again. Nope, absolutely not. No, I learnt my lesson with the last one. I am saying no. What's the system? Castra this year, but I'll qualify. All right. And this is kind of what I meant to say with Nyx, though I didn't think I had to. When I said no Nyx, what I thought was going to happen was that Nyx was going to be released as a full system like Pyro. And it wasn't. We got an asteroid belt and a station, right? Alright, it's a really cool station, but an asteroid belt and a station. So when I say no Castra, that's what I mean. We're not going to get a complete Castra system. I don't know why they do it. We've had this conversation. I know people are saying, oh, well, they get it by doing it. They just get to say that they've done it. Why? It's going to cost them a lot in server overheads to add Castra to the server mesh on each individual shard. I don't see the point. So that. However, I didn't specify that with the next thing, so the edibles thing is a thing, right? And there we go. They did say a shorter marketing campaign, says Chief, but each day that goes by seems less likely it'll be out this year. So what's quite interesting is I'm not entirely sure the Game Awards, when the cut-off date, when that's happening and how close to that Grand Theft Auto is going to be, and whether it's going to be in as part of this year's Game Awards or next year's Game Awards. I'm not quite sure. All I remember is that when they moved it, it's happening around about the same time as the Game Awards. And maybe he's waiting for that. Because again, I will go back to, this is Chris's magnum opus, and it wouldn't be unreasonable for him to want to try and achieve a Game of the Year with Squadron 42. But there we go. You mean fourth, Chief, yeah? Or adding a fourth system. I don't think a fourth system makes sense until dynamic server meshing is ready. That's going to be a way down the road as well. Only thing I hope for is Nyx one this year with a new planet tech for the rest. I just hope maybe if Siege is a success, they'll do municipal works next before the end of the year. So that's the plan. They do the Levski thing, right? And that seems to be the new municipal works. Initially, it intended to be like Area 18, and it was going to be down in like the service levels. It seems now that's shifted to Levski as the same thing. But yes, that is on the cards this year still. I understand. What's that budget cast for Christmas? If you say so, no, not a complete system. It's not. We're not getting the complete caster for Christmas, and that's the thing. So yeah, Nick's one would be great. I mean, having the rest of the Nick system this year would be awesome. I just don't think we're going to get it now. I mean, one's a gas giant, right? So you don't need to do much with it. You just pop the gas giant in, and then add the rest of the stuff later. You got Nick's, is it 1 and 2 are the other ones, 1 and 3. 1 is the beautiful kind of multi-biome world that was shown off in 2024, and that looked incredible. In fact, I'll go and find that, and we'll put that on in the background, because that's blooming gorgeous, right? It's a very pretty video, and it's always nice to have some eye candy in the background, especially when the alternative is that you're looking at me. Yeah. So let's have a look. So that's welcome to Nick's. That's all that stuff. Oh, where is it? See, I was doing so well. There's Dark Territory. Oh, that's 11 months ago. Okay, I need to go much further on than that. That's IE. Here we go. Brave New Worlds, was it? Was that the one? Ocean, thanks for that. But yeah. So here we go. Here we go. Sorry, it's taking a while to kind of play along, right? Okay. So let's transition in the background. Here we go. So this is where they're talking about the different biomes and the different biomes looking different, right? Let's put something on. I don't know. Let's do that. There we go. That's better. Nicer quality. It's better than watching Jared lately. He feels cringy. Yeah, a little bit. Well, I appreciate that. Better than Jared. I'm doing well, Wooter. Thank you. So according to my DuckDuckGo, Game War cutoff is November 20th, 2026. The day after GT. There you go. There you go. But at this range, there is still the possibility that 6 gets delayed. It could still happen, and that's probably why they're not going on anything. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. So there you go. That's the biome stuff, and then I can't remember where the rest of it is. Where's they did some really nice videos. I don't remember. Is it this stuff here? Yeah, I think it's going into this stuff. Oh, it might have been from the digital one. Was it from? It was from the digital one, right? Yes, it was. It was from the digital one. Okay. Well while we're talking, I'll transition over to have a look at that. It was from digital CitizenCon. Was it CitizenCon Direct? Wasn't it? There we go. Interesting. Wait, what? I can't find it. There'll be a slight pause whilst I get in one sock. Bear with me. Ugh. stand by. I'll be with you in a moment whilst we're sorting this nonsense out. This is what we were talking about about 8 months ago. This is what search engines are for, badges. There we go. Lovely. Right. Thank you, Trevor. Take it easy, buddy, and I'll see you soon, my friend. Good to see you. Oh, that was the contest winners one. Yeah, this is welcome to Nick's. Breaking new ground. Here we go. Oh, hang on. Don't want to do that. I want to get rid of the chat first. There we go. That's better. Fixed it. There we go. Sorry. So this is obviously the next step in it all, and one of them is the planet we didn't get to see, which is all high risk. It's a very caustic atmosphere, all that sort of stuff. This is going to be what they call the hero planet. Multiple biomes, swamp, plains, or whatever they called it. I can't remember what they called it, but it looks stunning, right? And jungle, I think. Swamp, plains, jungle. Yeah. Widget, yeah, absolutely, mate. If you want to, that'll be awesome. They released Nix in that state for marketing and press. YouTuber eats as wide as CIG releases Nix, so it was your fault. Yeah, 100%, exactly that. I think what CIG is planning to do is after the October streamer event, they'll make a similar demo available to backers who already have Squadron 42. That way they can claim they delivered something to us. Oh, God, that would be rubbish. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, but that would be arse, frankly. Yeah. Would have thought Earth would have been the hero planet. Yeah, so in terms of hero planet, every system apparently is going to have a hero planet. So that. I guess it would either be Microtech or Crusader for Stanton once they've gone back and remade them. So, yeah. But yeah, so that's that. But it'll be interesting to see what we get out of the remainder of this year. Because obviously 4.10 is the bit that we get next month in August, which is going to have the instancing stuff, which was really nice to see that what they hadn't done. Obviously, instancing was due to come in this patch, 4.9. They delayed it, but what they didn't do was delay it for the 2-month patch cycle. They just added in 4.10. I'm out of beer. They added in 4.10 for next month, and then we'll get 4.11 as scheduled the month afterwards, if they keep up. The interesting thing, of course, is IE is normally November, and go on a patch schedule. I don't think that's due to happen, right? Cheers, Sean. Yeah, so Crusader probably with the Sky Whales, possibly, yeah, that's it. Man, I just want to live in that swamp biome fishing if they ever make a fishing loop in-game. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of what people want to do, is that just going off and, finding a corner of the planet. Yeah, so there you go. Here's the gas giant, which is the gas giant in Nyx. So that's one of them. And there's that. Then this is the planet. This is the other. I can't remember which one this is on Nyx 3. And this is going to be like the high risk, high reward planet. It's a very toxic atmosphere. It's like a death planet, or caustic or whatever they said. So that one's coming in, but again, we're not seeing that one. They didn't have any of that ready, is what I'm guessing, for CitizenCon Direct. The one that they did have was this one, and you can just tell from that image that this is the one that's pretty ready, right? But yeah, and they've nailed this, frankly. If it ends up looking like that, I cannot wait. Cannot wait to be exploring this. I think, when you look at what they're planning on adding to the game, just for the second, right? Just to suspend for a moment the whole how long is it going to take? They're never going to do 100 systems, whatever. Just for the moment, 100 systems, average 3 planets a system, 300 planets means potentially, kind of a significant number of main landing zones, places like Origin, New Babbage, Area 18, Lorville, all that sort of stuff. There's going to be so much to see in the verse that just getting around and saying that you've set foot on every planet, you've set foot at every major landing zone, and you've been around and explored, is going to be maybe not an in-game achievement, but it's going to be an actual achievement of its own, just to have achieved that and gone around and seen all these places. And that, I think, is what you and I and everyone else who's backed this game was after in the first place. A universe to go and explore. I don't have the storage for 100 systems in game, to be honest. Every system they added took about 30 to 50 gig more of hard disk space. Well, yeah, there is that. There is that. And right now, buying extra storage or RAM is... Well, yeah. It's interesting, right? But, yeah. And obviously it's going to take an awful long time and all that sort of stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if they got to the point where we had Stanton, Pyro, Nyx, Castra, and Terra, and 1.0 is still nowhere near ready, so we'll actually end up launching with more. I know at the moment they want 5 to launch, but I think they're going to get the systems cranked out before they get the game cranked out. So yeah. I need a 10 terabyte SSD for Star Citizen. Yeah, potentially. Nicholas Dahlgren, welcome in, buddy. Fix, there's nothing to fix. It would simply mean that they have to complete the game before selling more ships, as many of the fixes are reliant on several core mechanics not yet. Yeah, so you've got the core mechanics that need to be added. What we're talking about in terms of fixed is things like the Iron Chad still killing people, the fact that, and it's coming next patch, but the Prospector mining head was always supposed to be on a gimbal. The Hornets, right, were supposed to have 2 SCU of cargo when they were not the Super or the Ghost or the Tracker versions, right? Don't have it. Stuff like the Freelancer being able to land in VTOL mode is just not a thing. There's lots of things that don't exist for some ships that do exist for other ships, and they need to go back and fix that. The Reliance series just need reworking. The Connie series need reworking. Because at the moment you can't have physicalized components in a lot of these ships because, well, there isn't the space for them. The Connie's walls are paper thin. If you actually look at the model, there isn't any armor on them because they weren't built like that. So there's that. Yeah. So you've got the stuff, and this is what we said, right, is one of the futilities of this is you can fix things. And then you'll break it again with like Maelstrom coming in, with everything else that's added when they redo scanning for the umpteenth time, when they add in, when they change engineering, when they change firefighting, because they're going to change all these things. Those things are going to break again. That's not kind of the argument that I'm making in terms of fixing ships before they sell new ones. I'm saying at the moment that, ships should have the lighting panels, they should have the door panels, they should have weapon racks, they should have accessible storage, they should have the suit lockers at least in there ready to go, right? So many ships don't right now. And it would be really interesting to see how a decision like that would affect CIG and change the way that they deal with stuff if you were to say, look, we're not selling anything more until you bring the others up to the same standard. Yes, there's lots of stuff missing, data running, scanning still all over the place, all those sorts of extra stuff, the drones that need to happen for stuff, the repair that needs to happen in certain ships, all that sort of stuff, that's reliant on gameplay loops that are coming, and that's not kind of what I was aiming at here. My big gripe at the moment is the Ironclad. I don't think, and I'm happy to be told different, but I don't think it would have been released in the state that it was in if it was a straight-to-flyable ship. The fact that they'd sold so many through concept means that they were able to be a little blasé about, well, it's broken and it kills people and there's no atmosphere in certain places and the temperature's awful in certain places, and every other bug that we've seen with the Ironclad. If that had been straight to flyable, that would have directly affected sales. So they would have very quickly fixed it, I think, diverted teams back to get to improve sales of that platform. Because they sold so many already, I think they were able to be a bit more like, yeah, fuck it. But there we go. So yeah, I would not chase computer upgrades now for an NS. No, don't chase computer upgrades for this. I'm going to end up trying to get a graphics card, I think, in the near future, just because I've tried the VR thing. If VR's your thing, there's a video that I did about it. I tried Pimax, which is like one of the top end. I did the Crystal Light, not the Crystal Super, because my computer would have just melted through to the core of the earth. Well worth looking at. There's a discount code. I'm working with these guys, and I can wholeheartedly, if you've got a decent top end rig, I can wholeheartedly recommend it, and I'm seriously wanting to upgrade my graphics card so I get a little bit more oomph trying to do VR, because doing it on a 3080 on a even Pimax Crystal Light is a little bit of a struggle. But I'm about to move house, these things can wait. So yeah, ship fires are not properly implemented. I haven't had a fire on my ship unless I self-sabotage. Exactly that, so that's going to change too. Does CIG have 10 more years of the same? Who will be around for that? I'm going to be here. I think when I first saw this game, it was back in 2013. I was working at Games Workshop in Birmingham. I was running their store there, and I saw this, and I remember coming in, and we had a sales terminal that had a browser on it. And I remember pulling my two staff members over, loading this thing up, and making them watch the original Kickstarter trailer, and all that sort of stuff, right? I basically just you will watch this, goddammit. Awesome. I didn't back until 2017 because there was no product there. And the way I've always approached this is, I've said this from when I started my channel back in 2019. I've been saying that there's no way that this comes out that 1.0 comes out before 2030. It's just not. It's not going to happen. And anyone telling themselves it is going to happen is having a laugh and needs to have a wipe of themselves. It's just not going to happen. So, this is the project that I'm really looking forward to getting into full time when it releases. I have no expectation of when that will be, other than it's not going to happen this decade. So yeah. Positivity don't have a reader Discord. I shall have a quick look, mate, as long as it's not a wall of text. Okay, so having a read of this, so the instancing side of things, it looks like that's going to come in very positively, and it is what they were saying it would be, which is it's a cut down version of dynamic server meshing, right? It's whatever they called it, proxy dynamic server meshing or whatever. I can't remember what the phrase was that they used. but it looks like you move to another game server when you are instanced, but they've done it in such a way that you're moved to game servers with low, or that have low overheads at that point in time. So what you're moving to, in effect, is always a low pop, high health server, in theory. But yeah, so that's exciting, right? If they get that server meshing, they get instancing into the server meshing stuff, and they do it well, so that you move on to servers that do have high health, low overheads. That would be incredible. If they can get that done, and get it done seamlessly, that would be awesome. Quasi, that's the one. Quasi dynamic server meshing. That's what we're hoping for. And I can't wait. For Siege of Orison, I'm going to go video mad when that comes out. We're going to do some videos as an after action report. I haven't done one of those in ages, but we'll do an after action report on it. Once they fix the other events in the game, whether it be at ASD, Stormbreaker, all of those things, right? Rockcracker, all of those, Rockbreaker, whatever they call it. I'll do after action reports on all of them, because I want to get back into this. I'm feeling the bug come back a little. I was having a bit of a funk when I went off a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't enjoying it. I had a great game with a couple of the community guys on Friday, Saga, Jamlak, and Tibbs, and that group. Really good fun. Thanks for that Friday. I really needed that. I'm kind of feeling even though some of the missions wouldn't complete and that sort of stuff, I am looking to get back into this, and of course bring you guys more content as well. Because at the moment, with everything that's been going on, it's just been havoc. Once I've moved down to the new place, you can stand by, because I'm going to be coming back into your eyeballs through the medium of YouTube, as well as the streams and stuff. I'll do some videos for you guys. But yeah, 2030 is the earliest I can see them being anywhere close to being finished, but wouldn't surprise if it gets to 2035 or later. It's a really interesting. You just go and look at, if you watch their 2024, the Road to 1.0 presentation, and you just look at the features that are added, like for all the 6 different guilds, like the lawful combat, the unlawful combat, the cargo hauling, the science, the sports stuff. If you go and look at those, and then just count up all the features, and then whatever date you're looking for, however many years that is, divide the number of features that need to be done by the amount of features you got. And if it turns around and goes, hey, that's 25 features a year, we've never got anywhere close to 25 features a year. Clearly that's not going to happen. And that's what I've been working on with the whole 2030 vibe. So yeah. I just hope CIG can match or better ED's sound design and impact. Yes, sounding games is crucial. There's a couple of things I really hope they add in, because that got me thinking about Hell Let Loose. Hell Let Loose, when you've got bullets ripping over your head, it's terrifying when you are face down in a field kind of crawling along and you can hear like the bullets ripping across your head. It's proper scary. It's really, really good. One of the other things that does is suppression. So if you get lots of bullets whizzing past you close, your vision goes cloudy and darker. So you get this kind of, or not cloudy, blurry and dark. So you get this suppression. So all of a sudden, the unrealistic kind of game thing that we have till now is someone's there with an MG42 absolutely hosing down. You pop up and go, click, dead once. That's not how real life suppression works. That's just not that, right? That's not how, not even a little bit. So I really like that as a mechanic, because all of a sudden, if you make games like, or weapons like the FS9, the Demeco, the Pulverizer less accurate, but you actually build in that suppression mechanic, there's a use for them without them becoming the weapons you just take. It stops them being meta, because now what you're doing is they are genuine squad support weapons by adding suppression to players and to NPCs without making them massively overpowered because they're inaccurate as like that. I mean, firing that thing from that as ballistic, the recoil on that's going to be bloody insane. Just saying. But yeah, I haven't followed CIG itself for a while. Did they say anything about a timeline on freight elevators yet? So they've got some fixes. It's in the works. They basically said it wasn't going to make it in for 4.9, but it's in the works. So hopefully 4.10 will see some sort of improvement. What was really interesting, of all the things that didn't work for the mission that we did, for all the things that didn't work in the Vandal Tech Smugglers mission, the on-station freight elevators actually worked, which was a little bit incredibly terrifying. But there you go. Avi says, personally, I'm kind of split. If they keep the current pace, I would agree it's probably 4 to 5 years. If they actually focused on SC rather than Squadron, I think it could be a fair bit faster. I mean, they've got just so much to add. So much to add. I don't know. If they can't even keep content stable for 2 months, I don't have much hope it will be done before 2030. That. Didn't the dev say that Chris's comment about feature complete was a lie? So, yeah, I think they said it was optimistic. The problem is we don't know how true that is. So even if there is a delay, it's not guaranteed that that's why there was a delay. So, yeah. Confirmation bias risk with that is that there's a delay and everyone suddenly goes, oh, that person must have been right. Yeah, it's not the only reason that could be true. But yes, apparently so. Once Squadron 42 is released, stuff for Star Citizen will get back half of the 42 team to help it work on fixes and the episodes for Squadron 42. Yeah, I mean, hopefully 42 gets shelved for a while, and they come back to Star Citizen and really build on that. I can only hope that that's the case. Was I invited to play in October? I've not been. I understand that if people turn down the invites, because obviously they have to go at their own expense, obviously, but that means some people are not going to work, the dates aren't going to work, they're going to put out another raft. I doubt it. I doubt that I'm going to get an invite. 3,800 subscribers, which is awesome. I'm really pleased with the number, but in the grand scheme of Star Citizen streamers and gamers, I doubt it. Also, for those that are new, and there are a couple of new faces in the air, I won't touch Twitch. I don't like the way Twitch enforce their standards haphazardly. They seem to have the people that they like who get away with fucking anything, and they have the people that they don't. And one of those people really, really upset. The whole thing upset me because when you platform people that I spent my military career trying to stop, I have an issue. And so if I was to stream, it would be on Kick, and obviously Star Citizen CIG really like the Twitch platform and YouTube streamers. Yeah, they're not really bothered about that sort of stuff. I will get back to the videos, and it'll be content creation again, hopefully. Ethics, but also still play Star Citizen. Hey, I'm an eternal optimist, right? And CIG, to my knowledge, have not funded terrorism or anything else like that. So, you know, there's that. I mean, I'm sure a couple of people have raged and punched screens and whatnot, but yeah. Oh, by the way, I didn't say it. Widget, if you're still here, buddy, thank you for sending me that message. I really appreciate it. Thank you for letting me share that with people. Have I tried Rumble or Kick? So possibly I may try one of those platforms in the future. At the moment, the issue that I have, and the guys here will tell you the same thing, is everything is running from one PC at the moment. I'm very lucky that a community member is going to lend me an old PC of theirs, so I will have a streaming PC and a gaming PC. This is why I don't game so much on stream, because this is background replacement. The graphics card is also being used for noise removal through Elgato, because the Wavelink software is broken. Don't get me fucking started. There's just a bug where sometimes it doesn't work and then it just doesn't work ever again. So I cannot get my PC to recognise the Wavelink software. So I can't control everything through that, and I can't use its filters and all that sort of good stuff, right? Let's find something cool. That's all the talking ship stuff. Crafted experience, let's not do crafting because that's upset people. That's the road to 1.0 stuff. Should we have a look for tactical scribe groups? We'll just watch that in the background. It's cool, right? And it means that you don't have to look at my face the whole time. So yeah. I kind of thought Amazon owning Twitch would clean it up, but no, it's a shame it went the way of Out of Scope. Yeah, that. Makes a change from sending you cast or propaganda. It does, you're right. But yeah. So that's that, right? And I think because I don't stream on Twitch, it makes you less popular again with them. One of the things we'll have a look at in a second, just for like the last half hour, is all the news that I missed, including the basher and all that sort of stuff. But at the moment, like, gaming on here just doesn't work. I'm on a 5600X, 32 gigs of DDR4, 3080, and a solid state, right? And that's the rig. So it's fine, but when it's running this, and it's running in the background, and it's running the mic thing, and it's running everything else that it's trying to do, and then you throw Star Citizen on top of that, as well as streaming it, understandably I get khaki frame rates. So, you know, and it's kind of like, it's like playing Star Citizen PowerPoint edition. It's just slides, right? It's unpleasant. I don't enjoy playing on it. You guys don't enjoy watching it. I notice people drop off the stream the minute I start doing it, so I don't bother, which is why we have these AMA style stuff. Can't wait for that to change. Cannot wait for that to change. It's going to change in the new place, and very, very quickly. And if they're happy once I've picked this PC off this individual, then I will pop all the praise their way. I just don't want to say anything without their say it so on stream. So yeah, it's going to be great, and I'm going to be able to show all this sort of stuff. It's going to be really, really cool, and then maybe get a little bit more. It's just a shame that because life gets in the way, I've not been able to do this stuff before Squadron came out. I would have loved to. Hindsight's 2020, right? So there we go. Right, okay, let's just for a second transition back to. I should add the noises. Okay, let's transition back to everything that is now going on in the Star Citizen universe. We shall whip through this stuff very, very quickly. But obviously we're on Frontier Tensions Alpha 4.9, and that has brought with it a raft of changes. This one I really, really like. It's the different HUD kind of fire indicators to let you know what's happening. So, if you hit something and do absolutely no damage, which is now possible with the weapons changes and that sort of stuff, you get that symbol to shield tip, penetrating shield but not doing anything, penetrating shield and doing something, hitting just the hull and armor component, and then ship or component death. I like that. That works really, really well. Who was talking about sound earlier? Someone made a really good comment about sound. That experience the thunder of ships overhead with a new generation of flyby audio. Rebuilt from the ground up, these enhanced sound effects deliver greater positional awareness and richer audio fidelity. Every pass feels faster, heavier, and more cinematic, whether you're in the cockpit or watching a ground battle or battle unfold from the ground. So there we go. So they've added some ships flyby, not all of them, as you can see here. Additional ships receiving updated flyby audio, as in flyby when it zooms past you. So that's going to be kind of cool. Distribution centres been fixed. Hopefully we won't fall through the ground as much anymore at distribution centres. Tibbs, thinking of you, my buddy. Yeah, so there we go. And then contracts being added as well. So there we go. And there's a whole bunch of patch notes, which I'm not going to go through. There are also war bond upgrades to the Hermes and to the Mole. I think the Hermes is... What's the Hermes now? 205, so a $15 discount for that one, and then the Mole is down to $295, so a $20 discount. Not the greatest discounts we've seen, but I guess they're saving those for the big sales. And then a bunch of War Bond duo packs, should that, float your boat, tickle your fancy, all that sort of stuff. I'll put them back to dollars, because I know it kind of freaks people out when I've got the GBP stuff up there. Interesting. And that page has now decided to completely bugger itself up because I changed one thing. Thanks, CIG. And a bunch of other stuff on sale. The bash is out here. Great. I think there might be a couple of things in here that aren't on sale all the time. Yep, the Hermes is definitely one of them. So yeah, It's kind of cool to see those out as well. So yet another ship sale, and we'll have a look at that in a second. The Basher then. Did anyone get the Basher? What are your thoughts? Anyone get them? Yes, no? So yeah, I did with Elite Dangerous sound design, and I hope the CIG can match or best them. Yeah, that. They certainly. What I really liked is when they had that sound design chat. They got the new guy in with the really crazy hair, and he was talking about adding more weight to Star Citizen sounds, and that's really good because I'm not being funny. Like the SCU crates sound like they're made of the same material as a can with nothing in them. It would be really good to hear them actually having some weight. So there we go. There's that one. I like it if you keep moving, says Jamlak. Yeah, so bit of a glass cannon this. Understandably, taking one look at it, that thing is not designed to stand up to anything. It's pretty thing. I took one look at this, and this screamed Reavers from Firefly. Screamed it, especially with the hooks on the front. This is just a Reaver ship. It's if a Reaver ship and a pod racer had a baby, and then someone just crammed a crane on top for literally no reason. But you can take the crane off. It's one of those like external cosmetic packs, so you can get rid of the crane if you really don't like it. So yeah, price is steep for a light fighter, says AV. Yeah, it's the same as the Wolf, isn't it? Or a bit more than the Wolf. So yeah, so the Wolf is 100, Alpha Wolf 120. This sits in the middle. I really like the shape, but not the spikes. Yep, absolutely. Ocean says $100 ship for a 13.7 meter long ship. In game for me, absolutely. I do like the grey market ships. I feel like it stole the idea of what Drake ships were supposed to be lore wise. There's that. Waiting on a proper stealth ship with an interior, says Viper Leo. Interesting. I didn't like it initially, but in Arena Commander, it's a lot of fun, says Space Tiger. Yeah, it's a really interesting ship. I like what they're going for here in terms of the way they talk to you. If you've got to ask, you can't handle it. Greys don't define, they defy. You know where to find us, and if you don't, that's your problem. I like this attitude from an in-game perspective. I think that's really cool. And I like the fact they're going to these junker ships. I think that's what this game's been missing. Is so, you know, in terms of ship availability, is something that is just this kit bash craziness. And actually going from this to more of this design, I quite like it. It's not necessarily something that I would buy, but it is something that I think needs to be available in the game, because I know there are people that are going to really, really enjoy this. So yeah. And you can obviously upgrade to it as well. The other thing that's in here, obviously, is another store bundle. Yet again, another one. This one, I think it's the combat armor stuff now. It's a little bit... Yeah, there you go. Includes the Bellator armored dress suit. So this is the clothing that has armor values. One of the... CQ7, this is the bullpup, right? So it's got the bullpup rifle and the paint for the Fury series. Fine, whatever. Warbond again, it's great. On that note, you remember I flashbanged myself earlier? And I just did it again. Ouch. There's this. Okay, and this is the funding tracker. This is where Star Citizen are now. Again... a really impressive... I'm just going to reload this because it's gone really weird for some reason. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. I think it was trying to load. There we go. That's better. I can actually interact with it now. So 12 million for June. Yeah. So much higher than any other month. We are already, I think, higher than... So 6 million there, 6 million there, 6 million. So we're pretty much there as well, matching. So 6,379,000. Hang on, I'm looking at the wrong month. 6,457,000. Yeah. So they've got to go up what? 120,000 this month for the remainder of this month, and they'll have had the best kind of July on record as well. So there we go. Oh yeah, sorry. Share the screen. Sorry, my bad. So there we go. There's that. I didn't share this all this time, did I? Oops, my bad. Sorry. This is why I don't normally have. I'm lying. I do tend to drink when I'm streaming, but my bad. I'm on the Diet Coke now, just to calm down a bit. So there's that. Okay. We don't want the comlink stuff. So this I thought was interesting. You know, we've just been talking about Twitch and stuff. From 29th, which is what, 3 days away. Normally about 1600. Any drops enabled Star Citizen stream for 4 hours to unlock the Foundation Fest livery, which I actually think is quite good. I like that on the Atlas. I think that's quite nice. It's a little bit happy clappy here, but the silver stuff I think is really nice. And then this will piss off the people that went to Bar Citizens just for this. But if you subscribe to any participating streamer in the Star Citizen category during the campaign window, you'll receive the Banu Lockbox replica, which previously was a decorative item that was only available during 2022 Bar Citizen World Tour. Interesting. There we go. So you link it, and there's all the explanation about it. We basically have to sub to Ollie, says Wuto. Yes, possibly. I'm going to use my Amazon Prime. Hopefully the Prime ones count. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I'm going to use my Prime one. Avi says, badges wouldn't be badges without either forgetting to share the screen or muting himself mid-convo. I resemble that remark. So, there we go. Made it really give them a nice chunk of change. It does. Have they finally made it so you can buy an armour and clothing properly? AV, not yet, but it's coming. I think they said by the end of the year. But we're not there yet. SC Kingdom, no worries, bud. Good to see you, my friend. Roadmap Roundup. We'll catch up with this. I know this is from almost 2 weeks ago, but obviously I've not been around, so we'll talk about it. Stuff's been added. Right, so the lever action rifle is coming in 4.10. Now, I know at the moment there's a couple of DGP guys. If you want to join the community, by the way, links in the description down below to the Discord. Pop in. You don't have to join the org. Just, come in and abide by the rules, and that's that. They've been trying this lever action rifle out, and apparently they're having huge amounts of fun with it. So that's kind of cool. There's another optic being added as well, and they've released obviously all this stuff. So not a huge amount of stuff in there. The big kind of news for the whole roadmap roundup stuff was when they separated instancing from 4.9, put it in its own patch of 4.10, which is coming next month, and these are obviously the bits that they've added to it. Everything else has been set to release, everything here. Okay, so what's really interesting is the Ninetales armor. It looks like that's come in, released. There you go. Has anyone found any of the new armor yet? Is it cool? Is it cool? Or is it in a point patch that's not? I mean, it says released, so it should be out, right? Prime sub do not count for the rewards. They already said that. God damn it. All right, I'll buy a proper one then. That's fine. I always try to make my character look Baba Yaga, aka Keanu Reeves, and I can't wait to get this new clothes and armor. Yeah, so who is it online that creates, so there's someone on Facebook in the Star Citizen groups who you can send him a picture and he will sit there for hours and make your character for you for free. That's his kink, right? So that's kind of cool. New armor looks amazing, especially the samurai suit, says Wuta. Nice. But yeah, I've got basically Keanu Reeves from Temu. So yeah, it's like we've got Keanu Reeves at home. Keanu Reeves at home is my character. You can ask the guys from DGP in here, and they'll tell you that. Okay. So a couple of other interesting things that have happened then, and this is good in some ways, bad in others. It's mainly good. So the ship matrix now pulls data directly from the patches, rather than waiting to be updated and transcribed, which is good. The downside of that, a little bit, is I don't know if it works across the board, because obviously there are things like computers that aren't in yet. So whether it's showing that information, I don't know. I didn't bother to check, frankly, because it's still the matrix of lies until it's not, right? But here we go. It says here, no more manual transcription lag, no more specs drifting out of sync after patch. What you see on the site now reflects the currently published live build. When a ship stats change in game, the ship's matrix will reflect it. What's interesting there, of course, is for ships that have drones, for ships that have repair, or anything that is not yet implemented in game, it's not clear whether or not that stuff will hang around. But it's a step in the right direction, I guess. So that's good news. And then there's a Gamescom Bar Citizen. If anyone's going to that, hope you enjoy it. Origin Jump Works is founded in Cologne. So naturally we're bringing a little Origin history home. Everyone who attends will receive a free Origin M80 in-game poster. So this thing. Yay, posters. You can put it up on the wall in Perseus, and I think Polaris you can do it now as well. So you can actually put these things up in game. Just hope they don't explode and you lose it. But there we go. All of which is good news. And then I think I'm back to, here we go. So we're back to 4.9. We're back to the start of this. So there we go. I don't understand that we still don't have fully working crafting stations in our ships, especially the Ugly Drake ship. So the, what's it called? The Clipper doesn't have it, no? Is it not working in the Clipper? That's a shame. I thought that guy charged fees for making character faces for people on Facebook. Did he? What, real world fees or stuff in game? I mean, if it's in game, I don't mind throwing him a few mil for a character that I want to look like, but which obviously isn't me. I'll just be Keanu Reeves. Or Wuta can be Keanu Reeves, and I'll be Timu Keanu Reeves. But yeah, if it's real world money, then nope, I'm all good. So there. Ta-da! So that's that. I put some music on a little while ago and then completely forgot to put any more on, so I suppose we could put a better... There we go. That's always nice. So there we go. That's where we are. Let's just, go back. And the whole point of this stream was the thought experiment of what would happen if CIG were then told to treat customers and products like proper customers and proper products, which is you've sold them something. In the case of the Ironclad and the Ironclad Assault, the whole sea, you've charged significant amounts of money, and yet that takes a back seat to release a new ship. I mean, the Basher is $100. I'm not sure what the harm would have been if they'd punted that into next month, now that we had a patch in August, and took this time to, really go and fix the Ironclad. And they turn around and say, hey guys, we were going to release a ship this month, but what we're going to do instead is we're going to release it with 4.10, because we need to go fix the Ironclad. We need to go fix the whole sea. There's a couple of other things that we want to add. To the Hornet, to the Freelancer, to whatever it is, right? And go and add those things. They should 100% all the ships and make sure we've at least got storage, in-ship storage in them, storage lockers, right? Because I don't think that's a real obstacle to playing the game. Is it the Prospector at the moment doesn't have an in-ship storage locker? There's the button for it, but it doesn't work. Because I took it along to Rockbreaker, and couldn't store loot in there to get more loot. So I ended up taking small loot boxes, popping them in the back, and then using those instead, which is silly. I get the vibe you were really upset about the Ironclad. So I don't have the Ironclad. The bit that upset me, Asa, is that people paid a lot of money for that. An awful lot of money. And I know some people CCU'd, and I know some people got it at concept, and I'm really pleased for those people. But even so, it's still going to be a lot of money. And I just think the idea that that takes a back seat so you can release a $100 ship that no one knew was coming, that was straight to flyable, that wasn't a concept, is just a bit of a dick move. You know, it's great. It's awesome. But it would have been great and awesome next month. And it's that. So I don't have an Ironclad. I like the look of it. I doubt I'm going to get one. If I do get one, it'll be in game. It certainly won't buy one with real world money. So yeah, that's what it is, right? And sometimes I think having these thoughts experiments and presenting it in a positive way, right? This isn't just CIG stop releasing ships. Because we know it won't. We've already said it. We've said they should, but they're not going to. What should happen, the middle ground, is spin off a team, and their only job is to go back, fix old ships, add things to new ships, and maybe just make it a rotation, right? Because it must be really boring. You watch people working on stuff like the Kraken, and you're fixing the Reliant, you'd be like, ugh. But having a rotation of people being in there for like 6 months, go back and fix stuff, or hey, you worked on the Reliance back in the day, come back and do this sort of stuff. That would be really useful. Even if they're only updating a couple of ships every patch, it would still be useful. But I do think with something, what annoys me about the Ironclad so much is I genuinely think their approach is different. Had that been straight to flyable, it wouldn't be in the state it is now. Because the state it is now, for people looking at that ship for the first time, they would have been like, I ain't buying that. I'll buy it when they fix it. And that's the bit that bothers me. Yeah, that's it, Wooter. Feels upsetting to have 2 patches where the whole sea works great and then gets broken. And there just doesn't seem to be any interest in fixing it. It is sending the wrong message. Yeah, exactly that. They've been doing it for the entire run, unfortunately. Even straight to flyable ships come out broken, the Moth. That's it. And I mean, they did fix it a little bit, and that I get, right? It comes straight to flyable, and they tried to fix it as much as they can. If it's still broken, then add that to the list of ships they should be working back through and fixing. A lot of the original ship makers left and don't return, and that's fine. Where you can use that experience, fine. If not, new ship makers go back and do it. And they just make it a rotation. Like this hero squad thing that they're doing, right? Have a permanent ship team hero squad that are going back and adding this stuff. And there's going to be 100 reasons why they're not doing it, right? Money, number of people, lack of interest, the ability to have the oversight of it, the right people saying, yes, let's do that. Because everything new's got to be placed somewhere, right? The light switches have to go somewhere. The door lock thing has to go somewhere. Someone's got to give oversight to that, and it might just be like, hey, we can't provide any more oversight than what we're providing at the minute. But that doesn't mean, that's not invalidating people wanting that to happen. That's just the reason why it's not. It's still valid to say you should be fixing stuff before you sell new stuff. And I just mean fixing what's already there. I don't mean adding more gameplay loops. I don't mean adding drone and repair and scanning and all that sort of stuff. But yeah. A lot of the original ship movers left won't return. I think a rotating team is a great idea. That's it. And maybe, hopefully, they hear this, and if enough people start talking about it, maybe they do something about it. Maybe they don't. But if you don't talk about it, you never have the answer, right? So there's that. Ta-da. Yeah. And then, just so you know what's going on with me for the next couple of months, because there's a lot more people here than what I talked about at the beginning. Badges is moving house. I'm buying for the first time ever. Ta-da! Moving closer to family. That's going to happen at the middle of next month. Thankfully, I have been able to book the broadband installation for the day after I get there. So hopefully I'll be able to stream straight from down there. It does mean, as a long-term thing for the channel, when I come back up here, which is where I'm going to continue to work because the company's going to put me up here and all that sort of stuff. When I come back up here to work, that obviously it might mean that some Sundays I'm away. So what I'll do is I'll have a look at my streaming schedule and I'll see if there's a way I can make this work better. Because obviously if I'm working up here and I start on a Monday morning, it might be that I decide to come up Sunday nights, which means changing the night that I stream to you guys. But we'll see. At the moment, everything will keep as normal. There's just going to be some disruption over the next couple of weeks. Whilst I move, this may become a very bare bones setup. But I'm hoping that it won't impact the week to week to week stuff. Once I'm down there, there'll be a streaming PC very shortly afterwards, I'm hoping. So I can actually start doing gameplay and stuff on stream with you guys. Won't that be fun? There we go. So let's end the poll then. Let's see where we are. I don't think this is going to be any surprise at all. 76% said yes, CIG should fix old chips before selling new ones. 24% said no. 37 votes total. You take care of you. We can wait no worries. I appreciate that, Ocean. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll get it all sorted, and I am looking forward to getting back to content creation with you guys. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I want to do. Not least of all, the series that I've been promising you guys for ages, which is the Ready for Inspection military aspects, or a retired military guy looking at the military aspects of military ships in game and talking about it from an ex-naval officer to, hey, this is how it works in game and all that sort of stuff. And seeing as that light's just died, that's a really good signal that I should be calling it here. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. I'm sorry it's been such a delay. It's been great to see some new faces. Always nice to see the old ones. And yeah, looking forward to getting back into this, spending more time with you guys. And if you want to join, it probably won't be now. I'm going to go straight to bed after this, go at work in the morning. But if you want to talk, honestly, there's the Discord down in the link, down in the description below. You can join if you see us in channels. Honestly, if something's going on that you can't be a part of, it'll be in a voice channel that you can't see. So if you can see us in channels, by all means, pop in, come and say hello. Be part of the community if you'd like. You can even join the org if you wish. It'll be great to see people in there. Just come in, give it a couple of seconds, read the room, see what's going on, and you know, kind of that sort of stuff. But that's the whole point of DGP, was giving gamers a place to come and chill out with each other. You've been watching Drinkers with Gaming Problems. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'll see you soon.